Okay, so now we've made our frame. The next step is to make our stand. And we're going to have to add a few more parameters. We're going to need, if we look at the one I made here, we're going to need the height of the stand, we're going to need the length of the stand, and we're going to need the width of the stand at the ends here. So let's go make some parameters. We'll go modify, change parameters. I'm going to call this one stand height, and let's make it about 200 millimeters, 20 centimeters. Oh, it didn't like that. Oh, I know why. Let's just delete a few of these. I already made them in another video that didn't work out. Stand height, make that 200. Okay. We're gonna go stand length. Let's make that a little bit shorter. Let's make that 150. And we're gonna go stand width, and let's just make that 22 centimeters. Okay, so I think the easiest way to do the stand is just to use the line tool. First, you have to make sure we're drawing on the right face. If I go get the line tool, now let's just see if it will anchor to this corner. So it did anchor to that corner, which is great. So now I've got a line like that, and I'm just going to drag it up to, say, let's see if I can see, where does my, yeah, so somewhere around here. It doesn't really matter because we're going to, I'm just going to click on this to flatten everything out. So we're going to touch it to there, and then it's going to come out like that, and then it's going to come down. We'll make sure that it comes down perpendicular, and then we're going to drag it out like this. You'll see I'm not really paying much attention to the measurements. I'm going to add them later. This is a cool trick. I want to make sure that this corner here lines up with this corner. So if I hover over that corner first and then drag it over, it lets Fusion know that I want the two to line up, and so it should just lock in place. We're going to do that. And it'll go light blue when I've completely enclosed the shape. So now let's add some dimensions. So I'm going to click D for dimension, and I'll click on here, click here, and this is going to be my stand length. And then I'm going to hit D again, and I need to hover over here, and this is, oh, it's over constrained now. How interesting is that? So it's, what that means is, you see here, when I made my lines, it automatically added these right angle constraints. And so, because that's a right angle, and that's a right angle, and that's a right angle, and that's a right angle, I can't actually change the measurement because it'll mess up these constraints. So what I can do is I can right click on the constraint, and I can just click delete. Now let's see if that'll now let me give it a measurement. There we go. And I'm going to call this stand height. Okay, and then we're also going to dimension this one, and we're going to call this stand width. Now what happened was it did the stand width to there. So I'm going to pause and figure out a solution to this, and then I'll tell. So this is actually kind of a cool problem to have in a tutorial. So what happened was, when I added, because I'd already set this distance here at 150, when I changed this distance here, it attached it to the part it already knew, and it dragged this corner away from there. So you can see all the lines are still blue. That's because Fusion has no idea where they are in relation to everything else in the model. So there's a cool section in the toolbar I haven't talked about much yet called constraints. This is where you can add your own constraints like these ones. There's one here called coincident. So where two things are coincident, they're in the same place. So what I can do is click on this corner and this corner, and it just moves everything into these two corners in the same place. Now all of a sudden, a lot of these have become black because now Fusion knows exactly where they are in relation to that corner. The only thing that isn't black yet is this line here. And if I go select, so I can still move it up and down like that. So I have a few different options for this. Probably the easiest would be just to go here. Oh, there goes my angle again. Let's deselect everything. So we're going to hit D, we're going to click here, and we're going to call this stand width. And now the trouble is I don't know what this angle is here. So that's actually the reason it's blue. So I'm going to go D again. Now this time I'm going to click here and here, and it'll tell me roughly what the angle is. So what I usually do is kind of, if that's the angle I want, I kind of pick one. We'll make it 95. And so now I've actually got a constrained side stand. A couple other quick tricks. You can totally make your own shape stand if you want. If you go up to modify, the fillet tool is a fun one because these are very sharp angles. So if I click on the two angles, it will add a curve, and it'll add the radius of the curve in here. So if I want the curve to be less, I can just go 20 and it'll make less of a curve. So hit enter. So what you can do with the fillet tool, of course this works as well on your solid objects, but it also works in the sketch environment. So that's a nice 5 mil fillet there. And I'm just going to add another fillet here and here, I think. And I think we're now finished our side sketch. So in the next tutorial, we will extrude it and cut some holes out of it so it fits into the finger joints.